I tell everybody that moving to Canada is never a kind of a career move. It's always a family move, to be honest. Because Canadian economy, sometimes it's at a growing phase and it takes some
Yeah.
time to settle down. And it's not that easy that basically you can jump in and then you can expect the same level of job which you have just left in the back home. So that is the basic challenges that you face in the country. And to meet these challenges, it's basically is that if you are willing to change, because I give you an example of just painting on the wall. Let's say if you have to have a plan to change put a new paint on the wall, you first have to remove the old ones, and you have to use a sandpaper to remove and completely remove the old one, and then to put the new one. The same aspect is about unlearn and relearn. The most important thing which I tell everybody to date is that if you are open to change, if you are open to unlearn and relearn, then nothing can stop you.
You're listening to the East Meets West Pakistani Professional Journeys podcast, released bi-weekly every Sunday at 5 p.m. on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple iTunes. Welcome to the East Meets West Pakistani Professional Journeys podcast. Today, we have Raza Toor, who is an accredited professional accountant from 3 countries. He has a CPA designation from Canada, a chartered accountant from Pakistan, and a chartered certified accountant from the UK. He's also a very successful realtor working in the GTA area, a member of the Toronto Real Estate Board and Hamilton Board. He worked at companies like Holiday Inn as a financial controller, Pearl Continental Hotel as a deputy director of finance, and MCB Bank Limited as a VP of quality assurance. He's currently a partner at his own firm, Streetsville Consulting CPA, a firm based in Oakville. He's significantly involved in volunteering and is currently the chairman at the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan. Pleasure having you on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Azam, for having me.
Okay. So I guess you can start off. What's your relation to Pakistan? How was your time in Pakistan? You mind telling the audience a little bit about your experiences in Pakistan?
Yeah, basically, I was born in Pakistan, Lahore city, and all my education was in Pakistan. My schooling was with Cashedil School, and then I went to Government College Lahore, then did my BCom from Hele College. And then basically I did my articles from PwC Lahore. And then where basically I did my chartered accountancy. And after completing my chartered accountancy, basically I entered into a professional career. And my first job was with the Holiday in Lahore as a financial controller. And after working there for about 3 years, I basically joined PC Lahore as a deputy director of finance. And both were basically in the hospitality industry. And it was a very good time in the hospitality industry. I altogether served about 6 years or so in there. And then joined as a finance manager in Heavy Foods. And before moving to Canada, my last assignment was with the MCB Bank, which is one of the leading banks in Asia, as vice president in quality assurance. So it was a pretty good time. It was pretty enjoyable and a lot of learning and a lot of opportunity. And beside working as a professional accountant, I was also extensively involved in teaching as well. I had a very good extensive experience about teaching about 14 years in Pakistan. I was teaching for the ICAP Institute as well in South Asia, and there were various other institutes as well.
Great. So when you decided that you wanted to go into this industry specifically, did you realize in university or how was that process like for you, that you were focused on getting the chartered accountancy early on, or was it you developed it in high school, or how was that thought process? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Basically, the way I ended up in a chartered accountancy was that actually chartered accountant is always considered a kind of a challenging profession,
Yeah.
and
Pakistani especially.
in Pakistan also it is considered one of the toughest. So
Yeah.
by nature, I am a kind of a go-getter person. So I took it as a challenge because it is one of the most prestigious qualification back home. And at that time, when I qualified, my membership number comes in 3,000. So you can imagine that in such a large population in Pakistan, these are 4,000 people are there who are basically qualified members there. And still at this time as well, if you see, the total number is only 10,000. It's only 10,000 members so far in Pakistan are qualified as qualified accountants. So that was basically that brought me there. So I took upon that challenge, and I chose that profession.
Got you. So what was the decision when you decided, okay, I'm in Pakistan, I need to move to Canada? What was that thought process like for you? What was the process like?
Basically, always wanted to explore work in a foreign country to see that house to also serve in the overseas as well. So that was always back of my mind as well. When I got an opportunity to move to Canada, because Canada and North America was one of my first choice to move. So that's why basically it led me to. So by nature, I was always thinking ahead, being ambitious, looking more
Yeah.
ways to grow. So that basically the ambition was the main factor that basically led me to come to Canada.
Okay. And once you moved to Canada, how was the first few years like in terms of the challenges you faced? How did you overcome them as it progressed?
Yeah, that's a very important question and a very good question. Basically, coming to Canada for every professional is always very challenging because not only Canada, but coming to any other country is always very challenging because the reason is that the culture is being changed, the environment is different. And especially with Canada, I tell everybody that moving to Canada is never a kind of a career move. It's always a family move, to be honest. Because Canadian economy sometimes it's at a growing phase and it takes some
Yeah.
time to settle down. And it's not that easy that basically you can jump in and then you can expect the same level of job which you have just left in the back home. So that is the basic challenges that you face in the country. And to meet these challenges, it's basically is that if you are willing to change, because I give you an example of just painting on the wall. Let's say if you have to have a plan to change put a new paint on the wall, you first have to remove the old ones, and you have to use a sandpaper to remove and completely remove the old one, and
Yeah.
then to put the new one. The same aspect is about unlearn and relearn. People think that when they change a country, all the experience they are bringing in will help them. I always challenge that. I say that this is a wrong concept. The right
Mhm.
concept is that unless and until you're not willing to unlearn your and relearn, a person can never grow in life. The most important thing which I tell everybody to date is that if you are open to change, if you're open to unlearn and relearn, then nothing can stop you.
I guess to get that push that you have, I'm assuming a lot of Pakistan, you get set in your ways in Pakistan. And then taking that leap, completely new environment, your new area, living, there's so many factors coming in. So, what do you think is like the major push that really made you go for that? Or in terms of any advice you would give to anyone who's considering or has the fear of not moving because it's completely unknown? Like, how do you like get through that thought process?
Most important thing the person has to find in his personality, or if
Mhm.
he is willing to grow, then the most important thing is the adaptability. That is the first thing. That because
Yeah.
without, unless you don't have an adaptability in your personality, or you don't drive this trait, it would be really hard to go and settle in any new environment in new country. And the same is case with the new jobs as well. The people who grow a lot, who change jobs, because every job has a different culture,
Yeah.
and obviously, once you change country, so it's a totally different dynamics. So you have to understand the norms. You're willing to change. And the change doesn't mean that you will forgive your basic core values. Sometimes people
Mhm.
get confused about these two things. They think that the change means that I have to adopt their culture entirely. No, this is not. It doesn't mean that. All that it means is that you keeping in your core values intact. You have to learn the new skills, the new in the new environment, and how to go about it.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess moving on to the career aspect. So in terms of actually, you moved to Canada and started your own firm. So that's in a challenge in itself, like in terms of getting used to Canada first, and then it's like starting your own firm. So, like, how did you take that jump? That okay, I'm going to start my own firm and push forward from there.
Yeah, that's a very important question in that aspect. That when I moved to Canada, the first thing in my mind was that because worked about 10 years in back home in Pakistan, and I always wanted to be thinking about I as an entrepreneur. So my first
Mhm.
thing in my mind was that when I'm moving to a country, everything is going to be I have to start from zero. So
Yeah,
this is the
exactly.
best time that you can start the thing which you really wanted to do. My main thing about my mind was that to start my own firm, start my own practice. It's obviously it's not that it's quite time consuming, very hard working aspect of that because getting a new clients and
Yeah,
it's pretty tedious one. That
exactly.
spirit was that drive me there.
But in terms of the how do you say like the fear? as a person who might have worked a normal like the job, being able to shift into the entrepreneurial aspect, there's a lot of unpredictability. Like you mentioned, you're going out to getting clients, you're marketing yourself, you're doing literally everything yourself. So how did you say, okay, I'll go through this and I'll keep pushing forward? Um,
Yeah, this is a very pertinent question. I tell everybody is that they need to understand how the fear is created. The fear is basically of unknown, because if you do not have the
yeah.
complete knowledge, number one. Second
Mhm.
thing is that you have the uncertainties in your mind, right? Then that's what is that fear creates. The way to overcome it is that you really understand what you are getting enter into. You do your
Yeah.
complete homework. Then on top of it, the most important thing is the frame of mind, the mindset. The mindset has to be positive. The fear is generated from the overthinking. The more you overthink, the more fear is created.
Yeah.
So the positive mindset you have, and you have a mindset that you will have an execution, and then basically your fear will automatically go away.
Got you. And the hardest part with starting a business is like getting clients or customers. Like, how did you approach that process? Because as or the accountancy side, marketing is or not that exposed.
Yes.
So like actually stepping into a completely different industry in a way. Like, how did you do that?
There's a good thing about there is always a positivity, opportunity in adversity. That the way it says. So the good
Yeah.
thing about the clients in accountancy profession is that they are very hard to get by, because the reason is
Yeah.
that it's a trust factor is involved, because they have to give your books, you have to do your taxes. So this is the difficult part. But the easy part is that if they once they join you or they come to you, they'd also leave difficult, unless you don't mess up. They don't leave that easy as well. So the both
Yeah.
aspects are there. The most important for marketing is that you have to put your repo out there. You really need to understand your subject. Then and normally the normal marketing channels doesn't work with the accounting profession. It's more of a kind of a personal branding that comes along with
Okay.
this profession, because it's a kind of a service oriented profession. So in that way is that if you are skillful, the referral is the best way to grow your business.
Okay.
I tell everybody
From
that this is a very niche business. Referral is the best, but in the start, yes. Basically, if your knowledge is there, then when you approach clients, it is very easy to convey them. And they once they talk to you, they came across you, they know that you're a knowledgeable person, and you can take care of them very, very well.
it's referrals from existing clients as well, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. And I guess you mentioned one of the fears, which is doing a mistake. So how did you overcome? Because sometimes you're learning things, you might do some small errors here and there. So overcoming that's like a completely like how was your process like for you? Because a lot of people obviously they can beat themselves up quite a bit that, oh my God, I did something pretty stupid or something along those lines. And how did you overcome that?
Yeah, again, the most important thing in life is that things should not be left to chance. The most important thing is the people do it.
Yeah.
In an accounting profession, there are various tools. You need to implement various tools and processes so that the chances of mistakes are minimized. For example,
Yeah.
I give you a practical example of two or three. You need to develop checklists, right? A
Mm-hmm.
review checklist,
Yeah.
a preparation checklist, then a separate review checklist, how the work is done, how your processes will go along, how your papers will be filed, how your files will be kept, how your digital copies will be kept. So in this way, the process will automatically minimize your chances of mistakes as well. The second
Yeah.
most important thing is that you really know your subject, number one. Second, it is also prime importance is that when exactly you need to ask for help. This is one of I have seen in our profession, one of the major reasons of people getting into trouble or not able to grow. For example, let's say if somebody is, again, I come to a practical example. If somebody wants to form a kind of a trust for save his taxes. So for
Yeah.
trust, you need a kind of a proper tax lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say if you somebody wants a proper tax planning, he has RRSP, RESPs, right? Then only accountants are not skilled to give him a proper advice. Then he needs a tax planner. So in these
Right.
specified cases, it is the best way is that you keep yourself to your main expertise and domain, and don't step into the other person's domain, and advise your clients. So this is the time and this is the area where you need an expert help. And then you can work along with that expert to save him taxes. That's the way to go about it.
Got it. So, in terms of individuals' advice that you would like to give for people who are interested in doing the entrepreneurial side, in terms of starting your own consulting firm or your own accounting firm or whatnot, what is the main advice that sticks out the most for you?
The prime advice I give to everybody is that to know their personality. That's the most important thing is because they need to know what their core values are. If they want to,
Yep.
let's say, suppose, step into become an entrepreneur, they really wanted to understand it and that why they want to become entrepreneur. What's what exactly it is for their are they want more money, they want more freedom, or they want more time. These are three different aspects, and for these three different aspects, there are different professions. So choosing a right profession, right business is very important, and that's all associated with their personality. That is the first important thing is that they need to understand that and why they want to do it. Because there's a misconception that people think that, for example, if they start their own work or they embark on an entrepreneur journey, then there would be less work involved. The work you do as an entrepreneur is about 3 to 4 times more than the work you do in your job, especially in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So unless and until you really don't love what you wanted to do, let's say if you are joining a profession or become an entrepreneur just for the sake of money, that is a guaranteed way to fail. Because
Yeah.
after certain time, you will realize that, oh, there's a lot of effort involved. And unless you do not love that work, you cannot grow. You cannot
Yeah.
outshine. There is no way.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's so true because you're literally doing everything, right? Like you're doing like from the actual work itself, but then you're doing reaching out to clients, communicating with them, being in front of them as well. It's an entire process. So,
Yes, exactly, exactly,
the,
exactly.
yeah.
Especially basically the realtor side. I'm also a very successful realtor as well. So in that
Yep.
aspect as well, because a lot of people ask me this question that it's totally a different domain and how you work with it and how you flourish in it. I tell you that main aspect is that this is a profession is also aligned with my personality. Because
Right.
something which aligned with your personality, then you do not feel all the hard work that is required. Because this profession require a lot of driving. This profession require a lot of interaction with the people, and this is
Yep.
something which is not in your, for example, personality. You won't but do it. And same is case with the accounting profession. It has own dynamics. It has own challenges and requirements.
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
accountants are has to be a very focused people. They have to be. It's a kind of a complete desk job. So unless you cannot do it right and you don't love it, you cannot flourish in it.
I guess you have a unique point in terms of being in real estate as well as having that experience in the finance and accounting side. I'm sure
Yes.
that has been really helpful for you.
Yeah, it is very helpful because that's why our majority of our clients in our firm as well are related to real estate. We have a lot of real
Yep.
estate brokerages and we do a lot of accounting and tax planning as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, how are you able to flourish in the real estate industry in terms of being successful in that area?
In the real estate profession is just there are very lot of similarities with accounting as well. The only difference is that it's more people oriented. You have to meet a lot of people. But
Yep.
again, because it's a service industry, the way to grow your business is through referral. That is the only
Okay.
way. That is the best way because if you provide the best service, if you have the best knowledge, and they can see that this person can provide me all the tools which we need to grow our business and go to our portfolio, then definitely you will get the referral and it's very easy to grow from there. The other
Got you.
simple marketing techniques won't work in these professions. I tell everybody that, for example, other flyers and other marketing won't work.
And especially, I guess, in real estate as well as the accounting firm, like sometimes there's some rejections from clients or you worked so much on a potential deal and it just doesn't go through. So, how did you overcome those type of situations? What's your thought process for those?
In order to grow your business, you have to be a very positive minded person because rejection is always an opportunity to learn something. Because
Mm-hmm.
there can be many ways a person is rejecting. Sometimes the person is rejecting only because something you are offering them or telling them a kind of they are not they are risk averse. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes it happens that the person is risk averse.
Mhm.
So there are many reasons for the rejection. And then you need to learn the handling techniques as well. Because once you
Mhm.
understand the why the rejection is there, then you can address them accordingly. If a person is, for example, risk averse, then you can explain him that how you are covering that risk. For example, I'm talking about the real estate, that how this risk
Mhm.
will be covered. Sometimes
Yeah.
that if you think that the person is just need more information and or you need more, you need to elaborate more to convince them, then you can convince them also. And sometimes there are some clients as well who do not want to decide because
Yeah.
then obviously then you not take it to your heart that oh no, he's not getting convinced, because he never will get convinced, because there's a certain portion of clients, because people sometimes do not realize that the procrastination, right, is a very costly thing. So
Yeah.
sometimes even
Mhm.
people procrastinate not only about their financial decisions, but even they about their health. So
Yeah.
all you can do is do your best.
Got you. You're doing so many things like your real estate, you're working in your accounting firm. Obviously, you have family commitments. You're doing other activities as well. Like, how do you, like, how do you manage all this in terms of, do you have a way to organize yourself, or is it just you do it day by day?
Simple answer is that if you really want to do something, you will do it. It's
Okay.
all about priority, to be very honest,
Right.
because nobody can force upon himself to do so many things. It's logically not possible. So, if you really want to do something, it's all life is all about priorities. Then you can always prioritize yourself. But the most important thing, people think that there is a concept of, this is also a myth. There is a concept of balanced life. There is no balance, right? Or work-life balance. It's always unbalance and rebalance. The person
Mm-hmm.
need to learn how to unbalance and rebalance himself. That is the
Yep.
main thing, and that is the definition of balance. For example, if you have an exam in front of you, you cannot say that no, I will spend a very kind of a balanced day, and basically I will study 8 hours only and then watch TV as well, and then because now after a week or so you have an exam, so you have to study. There is no way
Yep.
about it. Then after
Yeah.
that you can
Exactly.
relax. So that is the concept of life. That if you
Mm-hmm.
are doing so many things, then you have
Yep.
to unbalance and rebalance. You cannot go with that. No, no, every day would be same as that. It doesn't work like that.
About balance, you're currently a chairman at the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan. How's that experience been for you?
It's a very dynamic experience as well, because the this process is basically selected through election, and currently I'm working as chairman for the US Canada chapter of Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan, and
Yep.
we arrange webinars for our members for their CPD events, and then we also arrange family events, which provides great opportunity for them to network, meet each other, intermingle with them, and and I think that's a voluntary position, and I think it's a great contribution you are doing for your members, for your mother and alma mater. So it's great in that sense.
Got you. And in terms of, I guess it's on the page as well, like the events that take place, or how can individuals who are interested potentially, if they're interested in accounting, finance, or whatever, like how can they try going for these events?
No, basically, it's basically very organized.
Okay.
We have a list of all the members across the North America, and
Okay.
once we have a member arrange a webinar, then we do it through Zoom, and then the email goes to all the members, and they join it from there, and then we keep a track of their CPD hours, and then
Hmm.
we update the CPD hours separately to the Institute of Chartered Accountant as well, which is
Got you.
added to them. So it's a complete organized process in that sense here. And then we also have the annual AGM, annual general meeting as well, and
Hmm.
all that process.
Got you. So before I ask this question, I wanted to give a little bit of background. So I remember back when I was in high school and I was looking for a role, like accounting roles, it was really hard to find, and you were very like grateful to actually give for working for a little bit for 2 months, and I found that extremely funny enough. That was the only accounting experience I had in my 4 years in university. So most of it was either customer service, it was marketing, and all that other areas. So honestly, want to again thank you so much for that experience. And I was applying online and everything; it was just not hitting. And you actually as a student, I didn't really know much. So honestly, thank you so much for that. And okay, I guess the question is, how in terms of actually giving youngsters or people who are interested in the field like a chance, like where does that come from? Because a lot of people, they don't want to risk it on like a lot of juniors because it might be risky. So like how do you get that feeling of just helping?
Totally. Thank you very much for reminding me that, right? And because that, I don't honestly, because that's a wrong approach that people think that they are risking something, because the learning process is always a two-way process. When you have a young people, bright people say, with you, once you teach them something, when you mentor them, you also learn on the way as well. It's a two-way process. I always a two-way process. And
Mhm.
then and especially nowadays, the young people who are coming along, they are so bright, they are so energetic,
Mhm.
and they know so many tools, the chat GPT, AI, there are so
Yeah.
many much learned from them. So that's always in mind. Again, mainly the concept comes from how a kind of, you can say that, who want to help you, help other people. That's again the same concept as that. Because the sharing is learning. That's the main thing is. And if you believe in this concept, right, then basically you can also help yourself as others to grow as well. And then the icing on the cake, you need great, bright people like you along the way.
But no,
Yeah.
honestly, thank you because getting the first exposure to accounting, it was
Yeah.
mostly all like theoretical, like from high school, and being able
Yes.
to actually see it being implemented in the books. And now for myself, I'm more interested in financial reporting, and through that one accounting experience, it just built up from there.
Yeah, I also have an approach basically, even with my juniors and then new entrants as well, that I keep telling them that you have to tell me a new way to do things. That's the
Mm,
most important thing. It should not
yeah.
be other way around. I always tell them that if you find something which can be changed, if you find something which can be improved, please let me know. That's how the process works. And I always learn a lot from others.
Yeah, no, definitely. So when you look back, if you were to go back in time, like knowing the experience you have right now, when you first moved to Canada, is there any advice you would tell yourself, like from all the experiences you've seen, to accelerate your career? Is there any advice you would give yourself?
The most important advice, because I still as a work as a chairman of the
Yeah.
institute and also as a mentor for
Mm,
a lot of people, and a lot of people approach me before coming to Canada. The most important thing is that obviously the mindset is always there. I tell you again to be clear, they need to be adaptable for sure. But beside
yeah.
that, they have to work on their skills. Sometimes people are relying a lot on their degree. They think that they have a CPA designation or they have a CMA designation, and that's enough for them to land into a very good opportunity in Canada. That won't work like that. Because
Mhm.
along with education, the most important thing is that the skills. You need to learn the new skills which are current in the market. For example, right now, many skills in your area. Python is, for example, one example. ChatGPT is another example. AI tools another
Yep.
example. So whatever
Yep.
the main skills which are currently being used in your industry, you need to
Yep.
learn them. And you have lead here. The most important thing is not learning. You should not be aware of it. You need to be an above average in that. If you have these kind of skills, and nowadays there are so many learning opportunities. There are so many excellent paid courses which you can do it and add, which can you add it to your LinkedIn resume. So
Right.
if you can do these kind of things, because if you have really done the projects and they are shown on your resume, right?
Hmm.
Then you're also automatically increasing your chances to land to a very good opportunity very quickly. But if you're simply trying, right, and you do not know how to prepare a right resume, you do not know how to approach to the right people, it will be very difficult.
And last question, how do you define success? You could go professionally, you can go personally, you can go both. I'll leave it to you how you want to answer the question.
Yeah. Success is basically a very relative definition. It's a very relative definition. Everybody's success is different. But the most important, the definition of success is that you need to understand. It's a very difficult question for audience to understand. For me to understand is easy. For the others to
Yeah.
understand is a little difficult. But the most important thing that the person needs to understand his core values, what he exactly wants his life. That's the most important thing is because he has to balance everything. His career, his family, his health, and the family. The family, career, health, all these aspects, if you can take and spiritual aspect as well. So there are four aspects. So if you can balance all four aspects, then I believe this is kind of, you can say, a true definition of success. Only a career success is only one side of it. Only
Right.
if you are successful in only one aspect, then basically it's not complete success. So that you have to understand.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Raz Uncle. Like, you went through so many different topics, from your experience from Pakistan, moving to Canada, and your experience starting your own company, being really successful in real estate, and just also being the chairman at the Institute of Professional Accountancy of Pakistan. A lot of experiences to talk about, and I'm sure the audience will get a lot of value from it. Thank you so much for joining. And again, it might be a small pin drop in terms of for first year summer, giving that 2 months, but for me, it was actually the first exposure I got in the field in accounting, and being able to now where I am right now. So thanks for being on the podcast and giving the initial, push, I guess. So
Thank you, Azam, for having me, and thank you for acknowledging that. But rather, it was other way around as well, because it was great to meet such a brilliant person like you as well.
I don't think so. I was that brilliant in first year, so I had a
No,
lot
but
of improvement to do.
yeah, but I take that credit. At least like you, I could see in you that.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.